You know what? It's not been a warm day, has it, Tom?
Definitely not. No, it's been a chilly one after all the nice weather we've had the last few days.
I know. What did you do last weekend? Because it was 20 degrees, wasn't it?
Well, it was my little lad's birthday on Saturday, so I went to Chester Zoo with him, which he enjoyed very much. Managed to get out in the garden, get some bits done, but yeah, nice to get out and about after a long winter, I think.
So, welcome to the Josh Smith podcast show. Yes, that's right. It's in a different location this time. It's outside for the very first time, which I'm so happy for. I'm relieved. And Tom, thanks for the opportunity for letting me come outside and do the podcast with you.
No, absolutely, anytime. Really appreciate you taking the time.
And thanks for picking me up as well.
Yeah, no, that was a nice little added bonus for you.
Bit of a chauffeur as well as a guest. This is a very interesting and informative episode. Now, you know I do stuff on neurologic disorders, and I've had a couple of stand-up comedians in to get some humour in there. Now, this one is about parenting, and us men find it so hard to express our feelings and get our words out and how we're feeling. We tend to contain all our thoughts and that, and we're like a Pandora box, but not open, never opens. It just shuts, just keeps shut. We're like pushed to a side. We isolate ourselves, and this stigma that we've got going, it's so hard at the moment. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can destroy the stigma. But I don't think we are going to. What's your view?
Yeah, well, it's kind of what drew me to this kind of work in the first place. So obviously, I'm from Dad Matters, which is an initiative which has been brought to Halton by the family hubs. The family hubs are in Widnes and Runcorn, and they basically are there to support families with whatever they're going through. And one aspect that they wanted to really, bring in was how important dads are to the family unit, and trying to make sure that dad is looking after himself as best that he can, so that he can be the best dad that he can be the best partner he can be, and the best version of himself. Because, like you quite rightly said, it's very, very difficult for the men to talk. There's not a lot of outlets out there for them, and obviously it's tiny steps, but with things like what we're trying to achieve with Dad Matters, we're trying to make some steps in the right direction.
Because are you a first time dad?
I am first time dad. Yeah. As I say, my little boy's 3. So yeah.
So the process and how you were going, so the whole process of from having from going into the ward and that, and going in there and delivering the baby. Did you deliver the baby? Did you cut the umbilical cord?
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of context about sort of my journey, it was we had our baby prematurely. My baby was born early, so he was born at 32 weeks, whereas obviously the normal gestation for a baby is about 40 weeks. So he was born quite a few weeks early, and as a result, he was very, very small. He was only £2.6 when he was born. And he spent quite a lot of time in the neonatal units, so that was with the incubators and things like that. So for the first few weeks of his life, he was just trying to build up some strength and get a little bit stronger, a little bit bigger. So our first few weeks and that whole process of having our first was not what we expected, and it was something that knocked both me and my partner for six a little bit. And that's kind of what made me want to sort of embark on this journey with Dad Matters. Is when I was doing this sort of 3 years ago, there was nothing really out there for me. So even if it can help sort of one dad or two dads, or however many dads need the support, then it's been a worthwhile thing.
What are the symptoms? What symptoms can you get from a dad point of view on giving birth and having your first baby? And because you've got you got to have a new routine. There's a new routine now in your life.
Yeah. It completely changes your life, definitely. No matter how you look at it. Even if it's not your first one, it could be your second or your third or your fourth. Every baby that you have is different. Every experience that you have is different. And obviously, if it's your first, then it's a massive shift. It's a massive mental shift to if nothing else, just time. The fact that babies, they're up all hours, they're feeding, they're crying, they need changing, things like that. And if you've never really done anything with babies before, like myself, like I didn't have any family members or friends with babies, it was a complete learning curve. I'd had to learn everything from scratch. So yeah, it's tough for anyone, but it's just something, it's what we do, isn't it? You have babies, and you look after them, you do the best job that you can.
We don't give you a guidebook on it. Said that to me, mates. They don't give you a guidebook. They don't know too right. They don't. But now that they've got services, now there's organisations out there now that can give you some advice. So for first time, dads. But you also do it for women as well.
So us specifically at Dad Matters, we just look after dads. The whole idea behind us is just because we want to sort of mirror the offer that's out there for mums. So a lot of antenatal education, a lot of support is already out there for mums, and it's great that they can access that. And we want to, although a lot of this support is available for dads as well, we just deliver it in a slightly different way, just to make it more engaging and a bit more accessible for men. Just because we process information in a different way, and we take things on board in a different way. But yeah, again, through the family hubs that I'm commissioned with, they do a lot of work with mums through the NHS and through the council and things like that.
So you've got some backup, which is good. So you are a charity.
Yeah, we're a charity initiative. As I say, we're run by Home Start UK. My Home Start is in Warrington, and we've got coordinators in St Helens, Warrington, Widnes, and then we've got another 36 across the UK. So no matter where you are in the UK, there's likely a Home Start or a Dad Matters coordinator not too far from you, really.
So it's in Halton, and it's based in Halton, and that covers like Warrington. Still the borough and all that still counts as Warrington and Widnes.
Yeah, Widnes and Runcorn, and then we've got a separate coordinator in Warrington and a separate coordinator in St Helens. So, which is good in one way because it really helps me sort of work with the community. Like I'm from Widnes myself, and it's good seeing the same dads out and about, and with the babies and watching them grow and develop, and yeah, just turn themselves into decent parents.
You've done like a walk and talk at Victoria Park. Yes, like a walk and talk. It's like a meet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so as part of what we do, we're trying to bring sort of groups to Widnes and Runcorn. So we do a walk and talk every month. We change the venue between Victoria Park in Widnes and Phoenix Park in Runcorn, and it's just a chance for dads to either come on their own or come with the baby, or even expecting dads where baby's not arrived yet to just socialise, have a chat with the dads, talk things through, open up if they need to. And yeah, so that's one of the things that we've got going on. We're trying to set up some stay-in plays as well, because obviously that there are stay-in plays out there, but we know that it's traditionally quite a mum-dominated environment. So we're trying to make it so that it's a bit more accessible for dads.
Are you linked with NHS? You do a lot of work with the hospitals and that?
We do, yes. Yeah, so a lot of what we do, we go into the hospitals. So if you're in and around Halton, then you'll probably see me at at the various clinics and health visitor clinics and things. We go into the hospitals and sort of spread awareness of what it is that we do and the support that we offer. And in terms of the NHS teams, we've got close links with things like the infant feeding team, the bonding and attachment team, the parent infant mental health teams, and all of the specialist midwives and things like that. So we don't stand on our own. We've got a lot of backup and support from a lot of specialist services.
A great team.
Yeah, definitely.
All hard work and all coming together as well, and the community and helping out, which is great. So what was life like? What was your life like as Tom? What did you get up to in your teens?
In my teens, so yeah, well, I mean, I've struggled myself with mental health quite significantly through my teens and up into adulthood as well. A lot of mine was just kind of feeling quite isolated. When I went to high school, I went to a high school where I didn't know anyone, and then it was the same in college and the same in university as well. So I feel like I've had to start things again multiple times, trying to build up a friendship group and build up my confidence and stuff. And it can take a toll on you over a period of time, and especially if you feel like you've not got a lot of direction, you don't really know what you're going to do, for work or for relationships and things like that. I mean, if I would have said to myself 10 years ago or 15 years ago that I'd be doing this job, I would never have thought that I'd have been doing this. So you never know what's around the corner, really. But yeah, it's what I used to get up to in my teens. I was big on sport. I used to play rugby. I played football. I like to keep myself active through all my teens, and I like to socialise with people. But as I say, I did always struggle trying to sort of find that balance really within myself. And then thankfully, obviously, things have looked up a lot more since I've been doing something that I'm passionate about like this.
Just got a knee no going past.
Yeah, he must have heard me talking about mental health.
And comes to the rescue.
That's it.
Yeah, isolation. I did talk about this a while back. I do monthly videos. So each month I do a video, whether it's outside or whether it's in the house. And it was about isolation this month. So this month is about isolation and, be just hiding away from it. Like I do workplace isolation. I've done that. Where something was stressing me out, I went and hid in the bogs and I didn't come out. Now and then overthinking things and then thinking I can't do this job anymore. And your self-doubt comes in, and that all these little things that pop into your head. Your brains are scary, and it's a great tool, but it's also a scary tool because whatever you're feeling at the moment, it starts feeding more that negative stuff. You're in a negative mind frame, but it'll start feeding you and negative thoughts that make you think, oh, well, the brain's right here, and I can't do this. But workplace isolation is a big thing as well. I'm trying to get out there and helping as much people out as possible.
Yeah, you can get inside your own head, can't you? I think that's the key is when it might start off as a really small problem, a really small issue, and that can be in any aspect of life, like workplace or parenting or anything. It could start off as something really minor, but then it snowballs within your head. You start overthinking things. You start thinking of every eventuality, and then that's what breeds the negativity. And you just start, it can just turn into something that it doesn't need to turn into. And that's the importance of sharing your feelings with those who are close to you, and those who are experts as well. As I say, there's a lot of things that are out there which they might seem scary or they might seem a bit too formal and things like that, like the services and stuff. But you shouldn't be embarrassed or worried to approach services like ourselves, like counselling services, because ultimately the whole idea behind them is to make you feel better within yourself. So yeah, it's a really common thing.
Well, it's the only help you can get now because the governments have axed the funding for all the mental health things. I believe have you been heard about that? Told about that?
I know there's a lot of
I think it's
things which are coming
behavior,
and going.
to be honest, the government doing that when people are struggling, and I'm trying to help people out as well, the best of my ability. You're doing the same with parenting, with dads. But the services are out there. There'll be links as well on the video for you to get all the access, all the information, and please visit the hubs as well. I mean, I like that you've got a hub. I like that you've got somewhere where people can go to and that, because that's the hard part. Going. Getting there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what we find, and with the family hubs, it's not an easy journey for dads specifically, anyway, but it just gives you an outlet where you can access a lot of support, a lot of different services, and I think important, like you were saying, around services being cut and funding being cut. I think now more than ever we need to rely on things like peer support and rely on things like community. Because it feels like the last few years, especially after COVID, it just feels like people have drifted apart a little bit. Communities have drifted apart. People don't really talk as much as they used to. People don't talk to the neighbours. They don't talk to the friends. The workmates and stuff like that. And I think it's really important that we try and take back some kind of sense of community and sort of try and help each other out so that it doesn't get to the point where these services are overrun. And that we rely so heavily on them,
Yeah, definitely. So, in terms of funding, how would it go about now? How would it work? Did it keep carrying on?
Yeah, so
Bit of a hard question there.
well, that's it. I mean, we're funded by the family hubs, but with everything, it's kind of a rolling cycle. So normally the funding sort of comes year by year or 6
Right.
monthly by 6 monthly.
So something's happening.
So anyone who's doing this kind of job, it's never 100% secure where the money's going to come from. But luckily, there's a lot of places out there where funding can be secured from. So if there's anybody out there who's sort of wanting to set something up themselves or get funding for some kind of mental health support, then I definitely encourage you to look into what funding's available, because there are pots of money out there that can help you set up and get you where you need to be to start helping people.
Any events coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah, so through the family hubs, depending on obviously when this podcast comes out, there's a lot of Easter events going on at the moment. I've obviously got my walk and talks which are going on. I'm training in baby massage as well, which is something that's really exciting for the borough, specifically aimed at dads. So I'm hoping to get those launched in the next few weeks. But what I'd encourage anyone to do is have a look at the Family Hub's website, because there's all sorts of one-off events which are always going on around Widnes and Runcorn, and obviously in the wider areas as well. So yeah, just keep an eye out on things like social media and the websites.
And that's what my next question is. Social media, the bestest thing invented to get businesses out and community organisations out, but it's also there's cons to social media. And for brain development, like developing that and educational purposes, some things that kids have been watching aren't really beneficial to their education. Have you noticed anything with what they're watching?
Yeah,
certain things they watch.
Some things with kids and some things with adults and parents as well. The internet's a fantastic place for information. Social media is a good place of a very accessible way of absorbing information, but there's a lot of false information out there. There's a lot of misguided things that are out there, and you just have to be very, very careful and do your due diligence whenever looking at anything on social media, especially with the rise of AI and things like that. It's very, very easy to put stuff out there that looks legitimate that might not necessarily be so. You just need to make sure that you're looking for the guidance from properly accredited people and organisations. And yeah, social media is a minefield for that.
But it's give children more anxiety when they're in a gathering, when they're at a family do. I've noticed they back away at a few people that are just coming out of the shell more now, but they're like, this is like obviously from years from as kids and that, they shy away.
Yeah,
notice the isolation again, isn't it?
And it's completely alien. But I'm not I'm not old. I'm only 32, but even in our generation, through childhood and adolescence, social media wasn't really a thing. It's something where it's only just recently become more of an issue. You've got kids who are sort of 8, 9, 10 who are on social media, and obviously it's dangerous. You can post anything you want on there.
Yeah, it's not filtered,
and it's not very regulated, as you say. And like I mentioned about Adolescence, which is on Netflix at the minute, it's really sort of brought to the floor just how toxic it can be, and how it can drive things to be to really escalate in a way that's quite dangerous.
The emojis, I didn't even knew they had meanings to them. I'm getting that right, aren't I? The emojis that you send on the phone, they all like have a different meaning to them. And so after watching Adolescence, I had no clue that they actually communicated through these pictures. And it's just all pictures. I'd have no idea. No clue.
No, and if you're thinking back to the old days with the old tech speak, with your numbers and and GR8 and things like that.
Now,
yeah, exactly. So it's
bring back buttons.
Yeah, that's the movement for bringing back buttons on smartphones. But Yeah, it's one of them where it's new methods of communication are constantly coming out. I mean, that's what my background is in. My degree's in English language and communication, and it still fascinates me how, in such a short period of time, brand new languages almost are just coming in, all these new words, all these dialects which are coming from social media. And it's fascinating on one hand, but on the other hand, as a parent myself, it does make you worry for your kids, and what they are, taking in on these sites.
Definitely. Right, we're going to try and go live. Definitely going to try and go live in a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Give it a
much
go.
for talking to me on the podcast. Now we are going to go live and see if we can get a few people, dads that are hopefully they finished work by now. You can ask Tom some questions.
Yeah,
See if
absolutely.
we can do it.
Thanks very much.